Well, I'm feeling blessed today. We are in South Florida in Miami at the Condition 1 group facility. I'm here with Chris Kuras. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me on.
Man, I'm stoked to be here. Like I said, I feel blessed. We traveled all the way out from the West Coast. We were supposed to be out here, maybe
right.
3-4 weeks ago.
Whenever the hurricane came through.
Yeah, and Hurricane Ian destroyed those plans last minute, so we had to reschedule. And here we are. We almost. I felt like we might.
Another hurricane or tropical storm came through.
Yeah, we made it. So we're here, and I'm down here to chat with the team, specifically you today, but also to take the CQB class and course that you guys offer. There's a level 1 and level 2. And that'll be offered all day, Saturday and Sunday. So that was part of the other purpose of coming down. I'm super looking forward to that. This stuff's always a good time. And you guys come very highly recommended.
We try to let our reputation kind of speak for itself. Social media kind of disguises the fakers a little bit. So we try to provide a good product. We're a good class, and our best compliment is a student just recommending. Like you heard about us from a third party.
Yep.
Like that's the best compliment we could ever get. So we take a lot of pride in it.
I think that's a really good platform to be operating a business from anyway. And I get it about the social media thing. There's pros and cons to it. I think it's a very powerful thing, right? At the same time, it can fuck you up and make you look really bad, and you can also fake it for a long time.
Yep.
And people, may not get it. Here's one of the other challenging parts about it, given what you just said, and that is, if you don't know about Condition 1 and you've just come across them, you're just going to see kind of what they're doing. And I think what I've seen from the approach is, we're not going to say too much. We're not going to try and teach CQB through Instagram, right? All we're doing is, this is at least my take, that we're going to give you a little taste of kind of who it is we are and what it is we do. And hopefully that just compels you to want to maybe learn a little bit more and maybe, drink from the cup, if you will.
Yeah. So CQB is drinking through a fire hose all day.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a sip here and there, or something that we can give you a tip through Instagram, like manipulation through a doorway, something like that, or footwork, something that you can practice on your own. But there's no way we can give you like the whole thing. It's not physically possible. There's guys who spend a good portion of their lives dedicating to this and trying to learn it through a medium of social media or YouTube. Like, you can get okay maybe, or learn a few things here and there, but to consider yourself good at it amongst professionals, you're probably not going to get there by that medium.
Yeah, I mean, it's a skill set, right? That takes lots and lots of reps, and there's a lot of nuance to it that I've found in my experience with it, and the folks that I've trained with. And also there's tenets to this. And then there's also a lot of, going back to the nuance piece, it's like, hey, where are you coming from? What was the application that you had to put it, you came big. From? Yep. Like what agency did you work for? Or, what military group were you working for? And specifically, what were you, what type of CQB were you doing? Because there's so many different types.
And it's good and bad, because you can never be like one-dimensional about anything. Like, there's the Army side, there's the Navy side, there's everything between, and there's the law enforcement, like SOPs, and it's always good to have outside eyes challenge the way we've always done things. Like, you should never be able to say, oh, we've always done it this way, or not be able to say, wow, I wish I knew then what I know now. Like, if you're not able to say that, you're not trying hard enough. But
that's a good point.
The issue we see is, a lot of people, once they see a resume like, oh, SWAT or military this, like, not all of these CQB backgrounds are created equally. Like, the tier 1 units are, again, they're second to none. Obviously, they're good at their job. That's the
their
tip
job.
of the spear. That is their job, and the government invested a lot of time and energy to make sure they're good at their job, and that's why they're the best. They're not part of this conversation. But you'll get guys with a military background or an LE background where it's like, okay, you were a patrolman or something, but they'll overshadow or breeze over the fact that maybe they were on a SWAT team, but it was like a regional SWAT team that did like one warrant every 3 months, or they didn't really get a whole lot of training, or they've been doing dynamic entries the same way for the past 40 years and they haven't tried anything new. Or you get into this inbreed training with some of these smaller agencies and some of these weird backgrounds, And we'll get agencies in here or guys in some of the remote classes that we'll teach, like Texas that we've been to recently, where it's like, well, why are you doing that? I don't know. And then that's frustrating because, all right, step back and ask yourself why. Is there a better way? If you can't find a way, ask somebody and we can help you find the answer. But it's a little bit frustrating when you see that nonstop recycling, that cycle that guys are afraid to break out of. And sometimes it's leadership based, like you can't tell a SWAT commander or a team leader how to do his job sometimes. But every now and then you got to go against the grain just to evolve your unit. And as a student, it's always good just to get different flavors. Not to go down too deep of a rabbit hole, but
I don't think it's a rabbit hole at all. I mean, I think it's super relevant. I mean, I think we're starting to hear that a little bit more, just again from the civilian side of things, and just that. I guess the mantra we're starting to hear is just because this is what you did 5 years ago in your career doesn't make it relevant now.
Yeah,
and I think people are starting to listen to that more, and they're starting to take that to heart. That
we all have a shelf life,
exactly, and this stuff can be. I think maybe even considered to be antiquated at a certain point, right? And again, that's all dependent on like what was your experience then, and how are we trying to apply that now in this particular situation?
Yeah. So a couple of people come to mind that I've had this exact conversation with. We talked about Joe, Bruiser Industries, earlier today. Everyone, once you hang up like your plate carrier, you're no longer like the evolving part of the industry or community unless you really put a lot of effort into it. Like there's guys who got retired from the military 10 years ago. They're on the range constantly. They're in here constantly in the shoe house. They're constantly competing. They're doing things to evolve. They're going to other classes. They're still a student of the game. Okay, so they're still relevant. But if you're trying to teach me CQB the way you did it 15 years ago in the early war on terror,
right?
Okay, cool. But I guarantee you it's not the same because a lot of people died doing it a different way.
That's
why it's evolved to where it is. Like most of these lessons are unfortunately paid in blood. And then the tier 1 units learn, they evolve, and then it trickles down to law enforcement, usually within 5-ish years.
That's too long.
It is. Most of it is working for the government is never ideal, whether it's big government or local government. But sometimes most of the time it comes down to money. Like, hey, how do you connect the dots? So you've got teams like LAPD, they're always going to be a step above because one, how busy they are, and they pretty much invented SWAT as far as my history knowledge is concerned. And they have quicker access to stuff like that. A smaller team in, say, like Nebraska is not going to get access to maybe a tier 1 unit.
Right.
So it may take a guy who just wants to spend his own money to go take a class from Condition 1 Group or whoever, GBRS, one of these awesome training companies, and we're like, oh, maybe we should reevaluate how we're doing things.
Yeah, we're actually starting to see a lot more of that. Like there's more exposure to it now. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and that was, if we just go back a year, how many companies were really offering this stuff or had a facility to do it in. There's a lot more now than there was even a year ago. And that there's goods and bads to that, right? There's a business to be had here. So whenever people are looking to make money, there can be a positive and negative approach to doing that, or consequence, sorry.
That's why one thing I always say is like, I don't love everybody's style of CQB, but I don't have to. But at the end of every class, like we encourage people, go train with whoever you want. Please go get training. Go train with every single person you can learn from because you've got to have the experience of knowing what's good and bad. It's like having a really crazy ex-girlfriend and then you meet the love of your life. Like, oh, like now I know what bad is. Like now I really can appreciate how amazing my current wife or girlfriend is. Like I don't want anything else but her because I've seen the opposite type of thing. So you have to have that learning experience of what a good instructor is and a bad instructor is. But also it's opening a lot of doors for a lot of people. It's making it more accessible is a great thing. It's also providing more facilities to train at. So we've traveled a ton. Our 2023 schedule is very busy. And if it wasn't for the evolution of CQB becoming a thing, like shoot houses popping up more, we don't get to train. Ranges are everywhere. Good training facilities are not for CQB. So like even a contract class we had up in Central Florida, They had a shoot house, not very good, but they found a house that was being demoed. There was a giant ranch house that was like 4,000 square feet. We're like, perfect. Let's go. We spent 3 days there, and it was amazing. There was actually 2 houses on one property, and it was fantastic. It was a great team. And actually, the genesis of that was one guy who came here, took a class, and brought it back to his team.
Wouldn't shut up about it.
Wouldn't shut up. He was just, and that's what I tell a lot of people, just be annoying until they listen. If you're dedicated enough and you think this is something your team can benefit from, run until they tell you to stop.
Yeah, and again, this is a guy that took out of his own time, out of his own pocket to go out and train, which is another thing that's being encouraged. I think from inside the community, but not necessarily inside this community. When I say this community, I mean the greater community. That being your current active law enforcement, obviously running a business here. I'm a civilian, zero military or LEO experience, and always trying to train and learn more from the greater community. But the community inside the community, the law enforcement community, or even the military community, is not necessarily encouraging one another to look outside the box. It's at the end of the day, I want to hang up my, for lack of a better term, my badge and gun. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah,
I don't want to spend my time on the weekend away from the family or away from the things that I'm doing in order to get this stuff. But part of that may have been accessibility. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that? Or like, as a company, I know you guys teach specifically to agencies, but like in a class like I'm going to be in for the next couple of days, like how many law enforcement officers or people that are working for other agencies are coming through to train with the greater whole, with like the civilian community?
Probably 20-30% of every class. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but usually it's that 20-30% of every class. It's not always SWAT guys too. We get guys that are just regular patrolmen who want that extra training, and those are my favorite students because they're investing in themselves. The government, again, local or big government, military, is never going to provide you enough training unless you're one of those tier 1 units. They just don't have the budget, and they're not going to spend the money. And I recently had a conversation with my buddy John Dufresne, Mocha Bear. I'm sure you've probably heard of him.
Yeah, of course.
He was a young ranger. He was a private, and he tells a great story. He went to a competition and got smoked by a little old lady smoking a cigarette in a shooting competition. And he's a ranger.
Wake up call.
He's probably a young, motivated guy, thinks he's a good shooter.
Right.
He was humbled, like all of us probably were the first time we ever did a competition shooting. Went out and, long story short, ends up getting mentored by Frank Proctor.
One of the greatest of all time.
And there you go. But John drove to Alabama and slept on Frank's couch for years to shoot with Frank, learn from Frank. But he did it all on his own dime, making no money, working for the government. And I'll put John up against any of these great shooters. Like, he's probably one of the best in the country. Probably a little under the radar because he doesn't do a ton of competitions anymore because the guy's traveling all over the country year round. But as an Army Ranger, he's okay, but he took it upon himself to make himself better.
Right.
Like, the government will get you okay, but if you want to be really good, sometimes it takes investing in yourself.
1,000%.
And that's why those are my favorite students, because they're still students.
Right. They're not told they have to be here. They're here because they want to be.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that. I mean, it's a good place to transition, actually, in terms of how Condition 1 is doing that for people. Let's talk about Condition 1, the team, obviously there's a facility for you to, impact people through, but walk me through it. Like, what's Condition 1 about outside of what you've already said, and how are you helping people to move to the next level?
So Condition 1 group formerly was named DA1 or DA1 Training. Our owner, Dave, started this company while he was still contracting. He's retired from the Special Operations Coast Guard units. Started this facility. It's 9,000 plus square foot indoor air conditioned shoot house. And in between contracts, he was just teaching CQB. Basic home defense stuff, nothing crazy. We got a little bit shadow banned with the Instagram and rebranded the company as Condition 1 Group. Still the same facility. He brought on myself and a couple other partners to bring some diversity to the training cadre. So we've got our training cadre is Dave with his Special Operations Coast Guard background. We've got development group, SEAL team, We've got local as far as city SWAT guys, including myself. We've got some federal SWAT guys like HSI SWAT that are contributing as well. Some county SWAT guys. And we've got, I think, a couple Army SF guys starting next year, joining the cadre.
So we're growing.
Yeah, so the variety is good because you should never have one way to do anything. And we always challenge each other. There's days where we'll jump in and we're still doing CQB with each other. Like Dave's retired, but he's still doing runs with us. Just because he's not doing it for money he's doing it for money, but he's not doing it for the government anymore.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean he's not still trying to evolve his craft. So that being said, we mainly teach CQB because of our facility. We will do range classes here and there. We've done some precision rifle stuff, some red dot classes, some rifle classes here and there. South Florida does not have a huge variety of ranges.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places to go.
No,
I feel
real
that.
estate is at a premium because it's South Florida, and we've got the Everglades like right there. So everything is going up, and there's not a whole lot of room for like a 100-yard range because it would probably cost you $10 million.
Yeah, it's like concrete jungle right here in Miami, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like when I walked into the place, we came up the elevator. I was like, this is like the most odd place.
It's a
to
hidden
me.
gem.
Like we're right in the middle of the financial district here. And I was asking you guys, like, what's it like having these huge classes, even if you're bringing in, teams or whatever, and they're unloading all their gear out of their car and walking across these city streets. That must look pretty odd. Like, what the fuck? Where are these guys going?
We always get a lot of confused looks from people on the street, but whatever. Mind your business.
You got any crazy stories about that? Like, like anybody go, like, it looks like there's a bunch of fucking guys going in to rob a building. Well, the thing that would come to mind to me would be like the movie Heat or something like that, where you're literally right downtown.
Nothing crazy really that I can think of. A lot of random homeless people will sometimes be a problem, and they'll look at you and realize, like, all right, that's not somebody you should probably mess with.
Yeah, it's funny.
But other than
Pelican cases and plate carriers coming across the street.
Yeah, especially because, like, we have military and LE contracts every week, so there's guys coming and going in full kit, and they're usually wearing their
This is
stuff.
police or something.
Yeah, so everyone kind of minds their business, and they figured it out by now, I'm sure, at least the locals.
Anyway, I again, it was just like, this is like, it's kind of like that secret door at the side of the building, and then you pop upstairs and it's like
a speakeasy for CQB.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome, by the way.
Knock 5 times.
Great team room here, great little setting. There's a classroom here, so that's one of the other things. I mean, it's not just this huge facility. I mean, I almost got lost in there today when you were giving us the tour. I mean, there's so many different rooms, doorways, inward open, outward open. You can move barricades around.
That's one thing I will say is if anybody watching is thinking about building a CQB facility, please have doors. We've seen a lot of facilities pop up, but you need doors.
With doorknobs or latches.
With real doors, real doors. I know shit's expensive right now, but please just throw some doors up. Like, we've got 40-something plus doors in there, walls that move a little bit, some barricades that move. You got to just make it modular. If it's the same blueprint that you can't, like, we use like caution tape. When we throw caution tape on a door, it's out of play. Treat it like a wall. But we've got so many doors that we can change this facility 10,000 different ways, and it'll never be the same. And that's the beautiful thing about CQB too, is like, I'll give you a run, I'll debrief you, and like, all right, do it again. You'll still do it differently, but maybe it's still good. Like, there's more than one way to do this stuff.
But you could come here 50 times and never get the same puzzle.
Oh, yeah. Every class is different, because also having a fun, different cadre is you've got guys, again, different levels, different backgrounds, resumes, whatever. Like, I have different images in my head. Like, all right, I'm going to do this run, and we'll rotate too when we do our own stuff. Like, all right, you're going to debrief and you're going to build the house. So I'll set up the run to be like, all right, and you can be that evil-minded person of like, all right, how can I really fuck them up?
Yeah, man.
I'm really going to try and push their shit in.
Right.
And it depends on who's with the group that day. Like, if I want to challenge Dave, like, all right, it's pretty hard to challenge Dave because he did this for over a decade. So it's like, all right, let me move a wall here and open some weird doors here and really just fuck with them. And it's fun, and but that's how you evolve.
That's exactly right. I was just going to say, like, if you're going to the gym or you're going to jiu-jitsu, or whatever else, like, you want to roll with people. You want to lift, or you want to work out with people that are better than you, that have something to bring to the table, and you want a partner that's going to challenge you. It's not just going to give you the same shit. And some days guys are on, some days guys aren't so on.
Oh yeah,
and they can lift one another up, challenge one another in a different way, and no. Do you ever? I mean, with the diversity that you have, that's interesting too, because in the times that I've had the opportunity to train, particularly in the CQB, sort of genre, the best experiences I've had are with teams of people. That is, the instructors are teams of people that have various backgrounds. They're coming at it from varying different levels and experiences and training. To me, that's really great because you get to hear all the different perspectives. But I know there's a lot of places out there, a lot of people out there that aren't doing that. They're sticking, kind of with their own people, their own background, because that you can avoid conflict.
Yeah.
I just wonder, with all the different types of people that you have working on the team here, if what kind of an environment that provides for. You just mentioned for you as the instructor, as the team, but also are there confusing things or for your participants, or does it ever create a challenge?
No, I would say there's always more than one way to skin a cat. So most of the SOPs are going to parallel each other. It just might be a small tweak here and there. Majority of what we're teaching comes from the Navy side, CQB schoolhouse. So it's the combat clearance, if you want to call it that. Give it the official name. And what has trickled down to at least local law enforcement, things like that. And again, I'm blessed because I get to be mentored by these guys. So the only reason I'm good is because they took the time to educate me, and I became obsessed with it. Now, when I get to apply it to serving a warrant and training with my team and my guys, and I bounce it off some team leaders and be like, hey, let's talk about this. We do the same thing in here. When we do our runs, we're like, hey, all right, so we did this. What's a different way? Like, hey, okay, this is how I would have done it. Well, okay, what about this? And we'll bounce it around. And sometimes the debriefs get a little long. That's with us. With students, we try not to make the debriefs really long. And that's another thing you'll see in the class. Like, I think it's personally, in my opinion, more beneficial to like pause a student in the mid-rep, be like, hey, unfuck this real quick, and then go on so they have a positive learning experience than a really long debrief. But you'll see more on that tomorrow. But we're always challenging to evolve. Like we talked about it, I said it earlier. If you can say, like, I'm still doing the same thing, or I haven't evolved, or I'm trying to think, like,
well, maybe I don't mean to cut you off, but this is kind of what I hear from a coach's perspective, and I want to get into that because you're with your experience as being a coach, not just in law enforcement. But it's, if you took the same class from me a year from now, if I came in and I took the same class from you a year from now, it's going to be different. It should be different. It should be different. It should 1,000% be different because of the evolution that's happened and things that people have brought to the table. And again, whether it's within the cadre or the students or your practical experience inside the shoot house or out on the street, what have you, you are going to have learned a lot of different things. It would be the same as if you were on that Navy SEAL team. In my mind, like, every time you go out and you have to apply this in real life, you come back, you debrief, and you learn something new. And then as a result, as you move into the next training scenario, you're going to apply the new things that you've learned. So it should never be the same.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Ever, not one time.
There should always be evolution. And again, with dealing with government, sometimes there's old salty guys that are just like, no, I've been doing this 20 years. This is the way you've always done it. Like, all right, you've been successful for 20 years. Has anyone shot at you?
Right.
Yeah, maybe once or twice. Okay, whatever. But maybe we should reevaluate. Let's beta test this a little bit. Let's do some force on force and set up these scenarios. Like, what would happen if? Like, you should be what-ifing everything to death. And we love the what-ifs. Like, please, if you're ever a student of ours, what if the living hell out of us?
Yeah, challenge you.
Because if I can't find the answer, I know somebody who probably does. Challenge it. And I've been personally in classes where it's like, well, what about this? Like, and I kind of get shut down. Like, all right, if you can't explain why something, I'm not respecting you the same way. And I'm not respecting the information you're providing. I'll still respect you as the instructor. I'm not going to be a dick. But if you can't defend or answer my why, like, then you either don't grasp it well enough or you are just spitting, regurgitating what you were taught maybe 10 years ago from whatever your resume says you did. So it's part of the whole process of being a student. Yeah,
so you're being a student and a leader and a teacher all at the same time. That's a balance. That's a balancing act. That's interesting you brought that up, just with how to approach this from the instructor's perspective, but also how to approach it from the participant's perspective. And going back to that regurgitation of information, and again, there being opportunity out there to make money and do all this stuff. People are and have a business, and take people's money and teach them regurgitated information. It's a good place to transition, maybe, and just kind of talk about your history as a coach and how you've applied it to this. But going back to the regurgitation, look, everybody starts somewhere.
You have to.
Right?
Arnold didn't start as a monster.
Great point, right? So you have to start somewhere. There's some real fundamental knowledge that you have to have, right? Then you have to go out and apply it for a long, long, long time in order to start to master the skill. And then once you've mastered the specific skill, then it's mastery at sort of the next level. And if you talk to any like black belt in jiu-jitsu or anybody, and you just articulated this as a top level instructor, and that is, we're constantly evolving. Once you kind of reach black belt status, you recognize how much you still don't know. And how much more there is to learn along the way. So it's a journey. It's never like a destination, that may be a little cliched and a little cheesy, but
that's the fun part about it. That's
what I was just going to say. And so you've been a coach for a long time. This is not something that you just kind of stumbled into and because it was cool or whatever else. Maybe let's walk it back a little bit and kind of talk about how you got into this and where you came from. I mean, you already mentioned your active law enforcement, but that wasn't always what you did. So maybe kind of take us way back and bring us up to now.
So long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away type of shit, I've always been an athlete, and I've been subject to a lot of surgeries. I've had like open heart, I've had shoulder, Achilles tendon, bicep tendon. I've used my car like a rental car.
Time out.
My body like a rental car.
Time out. So first off, like one of the first things when the elevator door opened and you met me there for the handshake, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a bigger human than I thought he was. You're a big dude. Which 6'5"?
6'7", about 260, 255
motherfucker.
right now.
I mean, that is a big dude, right? So then you just kind of went through, all right, guys, probably been an athlete, looks like an athlete, built like an athlete. I'm sure we'll get into that. But biceps, tendons, knees, shoulders, things like that. But can we fucking time out for a second? What's up with the open heart surgery?
So back when I think I was 15 years old, my grandfather, which is like my hero, World War II vet, and also a cop for 30 years. His side of the family's got bad hearts. And at the time, I was playing basketball. And high school kid randomly dropped dead during football practice. And he's like, our family's got bad hearts. You're coming to see my doctor. So I was like, okay, like, this is my grandpa. He's my hero. Like, I'm not going to tell him
whatever he says. Yeah.
So go to the doctor, one test. He's like, I don't like it. Do another test. Still don't like it. So they do a cardiac cath where they inject the dye into your femoral and watch where the blood goes. He's like, you're missing a vein. I'm like, so you got two veins on both sides of your heart. And two go in your lungs, two bring it back, your pulmonary veins. He's like, you're missing one of them. He's like, the right side of your heart's enlarged because it's working twice as hard because you're missing one.
And how old are you?
I was 15. And I'm playing varsity as a freshman, or I was competing and getting recruited a little bit. So I was on travel teams, like going to high school, 5 a.m. practice before school, going to school all day, and then 2 practices after school. So the symptom of this issue is you're tired. I'm like, yeah, no shit. No, who wouldn't be tired after like a 12-hour day and then doing homework?
Right.
So the prognosis or diagnosis is like, all right, you can be a couch potato for the rest of your life and your heart will be fine, but you're never going to be physically active again. Or you can have surgery to fix it. And I'm like, my parents are like, well, he's never going to be a couch potato. He's not a video game playing like bored kid. So 2 weeks later, I'm having open heart surgery.
Okay. This is crazy. So 15, I've never heard of anything like this. I mean, I've heard of what happens when those things get blocked, obviously, right? When you start to put stents in and, again, catheters and things like that are going in, but you're 15 years old and you just flat out don't have a vein. What do they do? They graft something?
So what they did, which is I think standard practice now, it was pretty, I guess, new back then. You have your pericardium, which is like a sac around your heart that collects excess fluid. They cut that out because you don't really need it. You can live without it, and made the vein out of that.
Fascinating.
Instead of giving me like pig parts or something, or cow parts or some shit.
Fascinating.
So I was like, I'm good with that because that means I don't have to have surgery again if it takes. The craziest part about it is I'm a dumb fucking teenager. It wasn't until after surgery that my uncle walks in. He's like, you could have died. I'm like, What?
It never even crossed your mind.
Never even crossed my mind. My parents were cool as a cucumber. My parents, they're like, no,
They
this
didn't let
happens
on.
all the time.
They didn't let on.
Like they do the surgery every day. It's no big deal. I'm like, okay, whatever. I lost like 30 pounds in 2 days.
I was just going to say, like, what does that do to your 15-year-old body, but also your 15-year-old psyche at the time?
Yeah, that's, which is also transition to a lot of conversations we could have. But yeah, that's what was the genesis of me and falling in love with the process of strength training, because I got so weak. Like I had to start from zero. Like bench pressing a bar after that felt like a truck. I remember I had to sneeze while I was still in the hospital. I was only in the hospital for 3 days, and luckily got to go home pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah, luckily I healed fast. But the whole process of trying to get back, and then the process of feeling strong again. Like I felt fragile for a while, and it fucked with my head.
I'm sure.
Because I
athlete.
enjoyed being physically strong and being big, but once you start like bouncing around and bumping into people, like, oh my God, am I going to break?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I felt like such a frail old man, and I was a 16-year-old kid at the time, or 15-year-old old. It was weird, but it eventually went away. I got strong again through a process, had some really good coaches, which led to a career path in college. Long story short, walked on UCF, tore my Achilles.
As a football athlete?
Basketball. Tore my Achilles, wasn't the same after that. So I was like, all right, I'm done. And transitioned shortly after there, I reached out to the strength coaches that at UCF, and I was like, hey, can I do something there? And they're like, yeah, jump in. So they offered me an internship, and shortly after I got a job as a assistant strength conditioning coach there for 5 years. I forget, 5.5 years. My mentors were Ed Ellis and Scott Sinclair, and now Scott's at University of Georgia, national championship winner. Like I had the best mentors. I've been blessed throughout my entire life to have the greatest mentors ever, regardless of what field it's from. They were awesome. And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. But if anybody knows anything about the college football or college coaching world, there's no job security whatsoever.
Nope.
1 or 2 bad seasons and your resume is flying across the country.
Well, the first person that gets fired is the head coach.
The head coach and his whole staff.
And then the whole staff and the head strength and conditioning coaches is right there.
If you're lucky to be like Scott Cochran, who's at Alabama, and you can attach yourself to a Nick Saban, you got the golden parachute. You're not going anywhere, and you're going to make roughly 10% of what Nick's making, which is pretty goddamn good for a strength coach.
It's insane, actually, to think that.
Yeah. But, again, Nick's 1 in a million.
Right.
You might get lucky here and there with, like, I don't know, Urban Meyer type of coach, because Mick Murad, he was a fantastic strength coach as well. I don't know where he's at now.
But you could bounce around with those guys, They're going to have long careers no matter what.
But there's maybe a dozen of those in the entire industry.
Yeah,
unless you're like Cal Dietz or something.
Yeah, you up and coming or want to be strength coaches, listen carefully. It's like we hear this a lot from you. It's like, I want to coach at the highest level, and we're okay. Just understand what you're signing on for.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
a long, arduous, probably shitty road.
Oh yeah, my first 6 months I was lucky, so I again got to work with some amazing mentors, and I'm annoying. I'm obsessive. When I find something that I want to learn the most about, I will hang out and not leave you alone. So my job for the first 6 months was scrubbing a weight room. They'd let me watch their coaching practices, but Simple Green and Lysol weight room, washing the pads, football team came in, mopped the floors, vacuum shit up, and okay, this place will never be cleaner. Now my wife probably is just like, oh, you do know how to clean. She's gonna whip my ass.
No, thank God for that, though. You know that like
it's
people have to
process.
earn. You have to earn your way in. Nobody's going to hand you anything.
Yeah, and after a couple of months of doing that, Coach Ellis, he's like, hey, why don't you hang out for football practice? I'm like, okay, yes, like I'm in. Like finally, it's like, all right, then they'll give you one team to work with, and they'll give you another team, and like, all right, now you're getting paid. It's like, oh, now you're an assistant. Like now they're putting your picture on the website. And like, all right, you're here to stay.
You're official.
Yeah, and it is a journey, and it's a process that I think still has its weight. You have to earn it, like because you can't just show up for like a personal training certification and expect to coach these amazing athletes type of thing.
No, I mean I had a similar conversation with Mike Potenza, who is the head strength and conditioning coach for the San Jose Sharks, and Now he's been picked up by the Golden State Warriors. Shout out to Mike. Yeah, just still doing it out there, and he's survived a lot of coaching changes, a lot of things. So he's one of those guys.
Yep.
And when we were talking about him coming up out in, I believe it was in Rhode Island, which is where he went to school, basically like, I'm ready to be a strength coach now. I'm the head strength coach. Like, cool, go grab a mop.
Yep.
That was how it started. And then, he had to grind it out to cut his teeth.
Yeah.
I think it's, in today's day and age with that instant gratification kind of thing, everybody kind of wants it right now. They don't really understand that. But the lessons that you learn there, as a strength coach, and you go through working with young athletes, seeing the failures, learning how to coach, but learning what it's like to be on the other side as well, put you in a position now to move on and do other great things outside of that particular realm, which is what you did. So coach ultimately gets fired, which means now all of a sudden, like, I don't have a job.
Yep.
What happens next?
So I actually left before that actually even happened. I saw the writing on the wall prior to. So I worked under Coach Ellis, who was under Coach O'Leary. And I don't even know if Coach O'Leary's still alive, but he was getting old. We had a couple of really successful seasons. We went to the BCS before they started in the playoffs. Blake Bortles, which was funny because we were both tall with dark hair. So everywhere I went, he was like the new star. And because we both are tall and dark hair and wearing UCF shit, everyone thought I was Blake.
Mistaken for him?
Yeah. So it's funny, not to sidetrack too far, but we won the Fiesta Bowl. I jump on a plane the next day, fly home. My dad had tickets to the Orange Bowl. I don't remember who played, but I was wearing our Fiesta Bowl championship hat and my UCF stuff. People were asking me for pictures thinking I'm Blake. I'm like openly saying, like, I'm not Blake Bortles. And they're like, we don't care. Take a picture. I'm like, well, whatever, guys.
People are weird.
But yeah, because every strength coach that's been there in the industry or in that community for a while has worked at least 3 or 4 or 5 places. And that's uprooting your family and moving so many times. And that is not what I wanted for my future. I wasn't with somebody seriously at the time, but I was like, I need to set some roots. Like I want that stable family type of future. So I made the decision, told my parents. My family was like, all right, my whole family comes from a first responder military background. Okay. So majority is firefighters, believe it or not. So Thanksgiving is always a fun shit talking event. So 3 uncles are firefighters. My brother's a firefighter. Like 4 cousins are firefighters. My grandfather was the only cop.
Who was your hero?
He was my hero, yeah. He was a cop down in Miami for like 30 years. And then when I had the conversation with my parents, I was like, hey, I want to join the military. And they're like, well, why? Because at the time, it was still, the war on terror was pretty strong. Okay. Probably.
When are we talking?
This is 2013, 2014. Oh, yes. So it's still kicking pretty good. A bunch of buddies in college the year prior, or a couple years prior, graduated and went to special operations. One of my good buddies, Jeff, was a SEAL for 10 years. He actually just moved to Miami. I have to get you some of his stuff. He owns a company called Single Life, which is all bathing suits and board shorts. And okay. Yeah, he's a good dude. It's amazing how these guys come out the other side. He'd be good for a podcast.
It's crazy how these guys come out the other side, right? From the war on terror to swimsuits.
He's been on a couple podcasts. I'll give you his information. He's a freaking good dude. But he was mentoring me a little bit to possibly go that route, military wise. And my parents were like, all right, try to do first responder first. After, if you don't get hired within a year, we'll give you the blessing for the military. I was like, deal. Okay.
So that's interesting. Strong bond with the family.
Yeah.
Just in terms of their influence with you.
Yeah.
Or on you.
Yeah. And my grandfather was still alive at the time, and he knows what it's like to be in the military. And he didn't want me to go to the Middle East. And I respect the hell out of him. Fair enough. Yeah. So he's like, try being a cop. And it's different, especially the last couple of years. God, being a cop has been weird. But first place I really applied picked me up. So I've been a cop in here, South Florida, ever since. But it's that experience of being a coach, regardless of what I'm teaching, it made me a good communicator. Mm-hmm. If I can teach a 18-year-old kid how to do a power clean who's never done a power clean or a complex lift, or try to explain to him like how his diet sucks or something like that, it gave me the ability to communicate challenging situations, students, regardless of what the platform or context is. And that hugely made a great foundation to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I can imagine, particularly in the world of law enforcement, when you're working with young athletes, they're coming from all different walks of life, right? And you're now, some of them hate it going into the training room.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, it's like they loathe it. Like, that's not why I'm here. They want to fuck off or whatever. You're dealing with a very diverse population of people, some from very good, let's say, coaching programs or systems where they get it. This is how we do things. Others probably that were just basically running purely on talent and piss and vinegar.
I hated those guys.
Right. And so you're in charge of them. You got to babysit them for whatever, a couple hours a day.
You have to use your words to motivate them, because if you touch them, you can't touch them. You can't fight them. You can't, you can't like,
as much as
I've been nose
to
to nose with a couple athletes that I just wanted to like be dickheads. And I'm like, okay, fine. And my default line would be like, all right, don't go pro. Don't care. Go be a used car salesman.
Right.
This guy over here working his ass off has a better chance than you.
Right.
Like, eat shit.
He's got less talent.
I'll give
than
my
you,
attention to him. Like, fuck off, go see coach.
Love it.
Yeah, and it worked most of the time. But the guys who could run a 4.40 and squat 600 pounds without trying, like, yeah, you may get to the show. You're not sustainable.
Right. Because you haven't done the work. You haven't done the work. Right.
No. Like, if you think that your college talent at the pro level is going to sustain you, like, you're a dime a dozen at that level. Just like my rude awakening is when I went from high school to college, I knew I wasn't talented enough to go any higher. Like, I was enough to maybe like be a third stringer in college, but I was only because of effort. I was not greatly talented. I had to work my ass off for all of it. But I'll always love those guys more because they're the ones doing a couple extra reps. They're not half-assing it. They're putting in that extra effort, and they'll die for the team. And those are the guys who I think do even better because a lot of former athletes end up in the special operations community and law enforcement community, and they are gold. I love working with those guys.
Well, that's you. I mean, effectively, right? I mean, as you're coming through, so you go through this coaching experience, then as you mentioned, the first agency you applied for, they picked you up, and then you're out on the street. I imagine everything you just talked about there translates really well, into the academy. Right, and knowing all the different types of people that are there.
I just hate running. God, I hate running.
Yeah, me too. I feel like anything over like a mile and a half for me, I should be getting paid for if I'm going to go out and do it. Everybody should be able to run the mile, but anything more than that, like, I better be on a payroll for something. There better be an award at the end of that thing.
I'd rather run a mile of sprints with a little bit of rest than just like constantly
Same,
moving.
Man. Same. I feel you on that end. But again, you're coming out, and now you're moving into the street. Like, you go onto the street, and you're working, and you've been in the strength and conditioning world for a while, so it's not like you're a 21-year-old kid, that's doing. I was
26 when I started law enforcement.
So you got some life underneath you.
Bit.
And however long ago that was, how long you been doing this?
I think I just hit 9.5 or 10. I forget.
The reason I asked that is you just mentioned something there, and that was that the last couple of years have been weird, right, to be a cop. And I wonder about this because I sit all the way on the other side of the country, and I know because I talk to so many guys in your line of work that have been so frustrated, but hanging in there, and doing because they're there to serve, and that's why they got into it in the first place. Just like your family members before you, or whatever else that are doing it, and whether it's the fire service or law enforcement. And they're frustrated, and they don't necessarily have the outlets that you have now, maybe to continue to give. Yeah, I just wonder what it's like here. Again, sitting where I'm at, I get that the problems are very similar, but when we see Florida, right, from California, I mean, a lot of people moving here, right? A lot of people are going, hey, life looks a little bit better there from a few different perspectives.
Thank God for Daddy DeSantis.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that man so much.
It's interesting to see what's going on with that, and a lot of people, you either love him or you hate him. I don't think there's any in between on the whole thing. No. For me, I always look at it. I try to look at it from a larger perspective, but I also understand the challenges of being a police officer are going to be very, very similar, city to city, state to state. I wonder how, if anything, you've felt in the last couple of years with regard to the support that you're getting that may be different from some of your buddies that work other places, or have your experiences changed? Where are you?
The political side is really the worst part. Regardless, like, there's cops who will jump agency to agency thinking the grass is greener. Like, local government is always going to be a shit show. Like, you're asking guys who are cops. Like, I say this to all new officers because of the role I'm currently in. Local government is run by cops. Okay, these are guys who are just like you and me, like, who are cops. And like, all right, they're promoted, and they're promoted, and they're promoted. Now they're managers, and they're in charge of budgets that most of them aren't qualified to do. Some of them are very good. Okay, there's leaders, there's exceptions to the rule. But you're talking multi-million-dollar, basically, corporations that are now just for law enforcement. But if they were actually some of these agencies will call, some would say it's a 600-man agency. Okay, plus another, say, 400 support staff. You got 1,000 employees. If you were a public-based company, you'd be bankrupt in a month because of how poorly it's run. That is probably true about every single local government agency in the country.
Okay.
They're all poorly mismanaged. And the grass is never greener. Again, there's exceptions to the rule. There's some places morale is super high. They take care of their dudes. But majority, especially now, a lot of guys left law enforcement. So everyone is short-staffed.
Right.
Nobody's ever really happy. If you can remove the political side, which is usually things all out of your control, it's the greatest job ever. Like, I get paid to run around and chase bad guys and help people. Now, granted, I'm not a great cop. If I pull over 10 cars, I'm lucky to find one bad guy. I don't have that thing.
Okay. Interesting.
I took a lot of pride in just being a quarterback and a problem solver. Show up to a chaotic scene and be like, okay, how do we solve this? And be the helping hand. There's guys who they pull over 10 cars and they've got 10 murder suspects. I never had that factor, but I still took a lot of pride in my job in helping people. Now, the political side is always going to be bullshit, but even during COVID and when people were rioting and you're in some low-income areas, there's still people who love the police.
Right.
They don't all hate us.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I see it. I talk to people all the time. Not everybody hates cops.
No.
And again, and this is because not every cop is a shitbag, which is the picture that's being painted, right? So...
And I tell, again, my current role is I'm a full-time instructor now at my agency, and it's fantastic. It's the job I've always wanted because I've always loved coaching.
You're a coach, yeah.
I don't want any other job at my department, but I tell all of them, just be the cop that if your loved one called 911, that you would hope showed up. And whether for a car accident or for an active shooter. Are you going to be the polite, courteous guy to deal with the car accident and tell them, like, hey, we're going to call you a tow truck and help you out? And if it's an active shooter, are you the guy who's actually trained, who gave a shit, who invested in himself, went the extra mile to do PT and go to the range on your own time? So God forbid a Uvalde type thing happens, you're going in that door no matter what. You're going to have to literally handcuff me to a fucking railing to stop me from saving kids. That's the guy I want you to be, or gal.
It's a fucking golden rule, right?
It should be. It should be.
Treat other people how you want to be treated.
Some people just see a high-paying salary. Like, oh, well, if I do 10 years here, I want to make 6 figures, and I don't really have to do a whole lot. Oh, man, I'm going to sign up for that. Like, no, like that's not what law enforcement is. Like, no one's holding a gun to your head to sign up for this, but you're expected to do things that more normal people are not. And I hate the whole thank me for my service bullshit, but you're expected to do things that others aren't. Like,
it is part of the job.
When gunshots are going off in the building, go, figure it out. I don't care what your excuse is. Figure it out. You don't have an excuse. So, and there's some people who will challenge that and be like, oh, what if? Like, those, I don't want you. Like, go take a perimeter point, find something else. And then hopefully most people aren't like that. Every now and then they do pop up, and we'd have to try to reprogram them. But
what's the reality of that?
I'm blessed. I love my agency. I still think 90% of my agency is. We just had a guy, worst Halloween costume ever, trench coat, fake guns, walk into an office party, and people went crazy.
Oh, Jesus.
But it went to DEFCON like 5 real quick, or however that works. But it was real. It was a good test run. We had just finished training the entire agency for the whole year. Everybody showed up. Everybody ran in the building. They locked the place down in seconds. Like, it was a great false alarm.
It's got to feel good.
And the bosses that were there were like, whatever you're teaching them works. And it was such good feedback. And it's just a testament to the guys I work with and the guys before me who, again, I didn't do anything in the time I've been in my unit. Or I've done a second of work, but this is all guys that have been doing this for a much longer time. Like, we've been priming everybody for this event for years. Now we just get a really good false alarm, and thank God it was a false alarm.
What a great way to learn, yeah.
Yeah, and
have it validated, I guess.
Yeah, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I'll defend our agency. We've probably got the best trained group in the area.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, it's good that you have that confidence. Obviously, you're biased.
Yeah,
right.
I'm always going to love our people more.
When it gets validated in that kind of way, I mean, you can't shit on yourself all the time, right?
No.
It's okay to acknowledge the wins. I'm terrible at that, myself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we should have done better and we can't do better. What's the next hardest thing we could possibly do?
Yeah, but it's also like a good leadership position. Like if you're ever doing like, oh, I did such a good job, I'd be like, really, motherfucker?
But
like,
when you debrief about it and there's honesty in it, right, and integrity in the process of, hey, we did this really well. Without it being a different situation, I don't think we could or would have or should have handled it differently. It's got to feel pretty good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it also has to give everybody else on the team and in the department that much more confidence. And it brings people together again, instead of going back to where I kind of started this thing, which was, about this particular, part of your career. And that is, it's been really tough. I mean, I can't imagine how tough it is to go out on the street during one of these high times, that we've had in the last couple of years and listen to some of the things people are saying, see it on the news, only see that officer's worst day, and maybe got caught in a situation that nobody could ever imagine being in and had to make a decision.
And again, it's all politically driven, and I'm confident that the mainstream media is always like chomping at the bit for that kind of fuck up.
Yep.
And they're going to happen. We're human beings. Like I just recently had this discussion, like, doctors accidentally kill 250,000 people a year. Every day. I guarantee you right now.
All we got to do is start going back to some of the pharmaceutical companies. They're not even doctors, man.
Jesus,
It's crazy.
That's a rabbit hole I'm not touching.
Yeah, I won't either, but
I guarantee you, somewhere in the country today, there's been at least 5 to 10 law enforcement shootings. So anywhere in the country, at least 5 or 10. And I guarantee 9 out of 10 are going to be black and white, clear as day.
Right.
They did the right thing. Good shoot. And people always, when we started getting the body cameras, everybody was like, I don't know. I love them. Because all it does is validate guys doing good work.
Or the guy that isn't doing a good job validates from my perspective, I think they're great. And all the good cops. And again, I'm biased because I hang out with good cops, but all those cops are like, no, I love having it because it protects me and it shows full context of these situations.
Not to go too deep down and take a long story. First day I was issued my body camera, I took class. My next shift, arrested a girl, domestic violence thing, get to the jail, accused me of raping her on the way to the jail. Take my camera. I went back to work in 30 seconds.
Yeah, see you later, bye.
A buddy of mine had the same thing 6 months earlier.
He's on leave,
paid admin leave for 4 months while they investigate everything.
Some bullshit.
While he's shitting his pants, worried about, oh my God, am I going to lose my job? And he was one of my buddies I went to the academy with. Like, awesome dude. Like, there's last person I would ever do that. But, well, a lot of people probably have said that. But like he was stressed out of his mind before cameras.
Am I going to have a career? Am I going to be able to take care of myself and my family?
My sergeant took a look at my camera. He's like, I'll be right back. 2 minutes later, yeah, you're good. Go back to work. Okay. People can bitch about them all they want, but there's nothing more. I'm more worried about protecting myself than anything.
I think so. This brings us back to the training aspect too, because what it's doing now is it's documenting these situations that are happening.
Tons of value
there, right? And they're being released for everybody to see. So if you're trying to be an objective onlooker, right, or maybe you're a coach who's trying to be objective and go, hey, what's the training value in watching this film? What are the things that happened here? Like not what's bad, what's good. Just what are all the things? Because it helps you maybe create or at least talk about different situations that could happen. Because again, no situation is ever the same. So kind of bringing it back to you as a coach and that value. Is it the department or the agencies are how does that get trickled down? I'm curious about this. I mean, because I see it. We see it through all the normal channels. We see it through YouTube. We see it through Instagram, or, like bodycam.com or whatever it happens to be.
So,
how does it get brought down to you as an instructor to help teach the crew that you work with?
So it's a micro and macro type deal. If you notice a trend nationwide, that's an issue. It's usually pretty obvious. Because people are going to be talking about it left and right. It's on social media. Like
it could be as much as like George Floyd.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect example.
That thing just goes fucking viral right now.
Prisoner handling became the hottest topic really quick. Like no knees on anything. Not to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, they made mistakes.
It was a shit show.
And we'll leave it at that. Now, on the micro scale, say for any agency, you're saying like, all right, uses of force have gone up, say 40% in the last 6 months. Why is that?
Have they though? Yeah.
Have they? Yeah. So you start to diagnose, you start to dig through the statistics a little bit. And then something, at least my agency found is, yeah, uses of force did go up.
Okay.
A lot more people went hands-on, a lot more people being injured. And well, what happened? COVID happened. Nobody was allowed to train combatives for 2+ years. A lot of deficiencies. A lot of guys don't know how to handle a combative subject or deal with their own jiu-jitsu type thing, or getting people in handcuffs in the most efficient way possible. Instead, they're just like maybe punching and throwing elbows a couple times instead of using like a combatives technique or jiu-jitsu, like an arm bar or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a micro trend, but which was probably on a greater scale because nobody really got to do anything during COVID.
It's a consequence of not training.
Yep. And again, it depends on how large your agency is to develop if it's a trend or not. But we'll get calls from certain pieces of the chain of command because they'll have to review uses of force. And we'll get the phone call like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then it'll be brought to our attention pretty quickly. Like, hey, all right, we have a trend. We can see it. We can address it. What's the fix? Is it more training? Is it just a tabletop with one officer? Be like, hey, why'd you do this? Let's talk about it. And we'll go over SOPs and policies, give them a little bit of one-on-one, or does the whole agency need to be addressed on like, hey, we're seeing a huge deficiency. Maybe there was a gap in training 2 or 3 years ago that something happened. Let's address it and we'll unfuck it together. Otherwise. The nationwide stuff is more rare, I would say. It's not every day you're seeing like the George Floyd thing. Now everybody's level of training is different. There's never going to be a perfect world where like our cops are actually getting the training they need.
Impossible.
It's not physically possible. So I always encourage guys like invest in yourself.
Go train. Yep.
Like we're blessed because we're getting really good at being annoying to our chain of command. And we're getting away to like, okay, now active shooter, which used to be every 3 years or once every 3 years, now is every year. The rifle class was every other year, now it's every year. So we're really good at being like, hey, we need this. This is something we need, and there's no downside to getting it. So okay, and our bosses are like, we have great leadership right now, so we're taking advantage of being needy because we see the gap, and they're seeing where the gap is as well. They agree with us. Okay, take it and run. So
maybe there's a little bit of a paradigm shift there in terms of how it's being approached. But let me just back up just a second. Did you just say rifle training only happens every 2 years, or only it happened every 2 years?
Some agencies, they don't even, we call it a rifle refresher class. So you got to take a class that's 3 days long to be certified to carry a rifle, and then every other year following that, you get a refresher, and it's a 1 8-hour day or 1 10-hour day.
And is there any required like training in between?
Nope.
Boy, that's a perishable skill. And
unless you're in a specialty unit, you don't get the opportunity to do it unless you do it on your own. Now, again, everybody's different. There's some agencies that are like, oh, you get to shoot once a month. And then there's some agencies that are like, you get to shoot your qual, and that's the only shooting you're doing for the year period. There's extremes to both. We have fought pretty hard to change a lot of it. If it were up to me, patrol guys would be shooting at a minimum of quarterly. Yeah. At least 1 full day quarterly.
I mean, yeah, because there's some reality. I mean, in a perfect world, they'd be shooting once a week. It's not possible.
It's not possible. It's the logistics.
But a quarterly seems like reasonable.
It's reasonable. Half day to a full day quarterly is definitely doable. Now, then it gets into the whole nother rabbit hole of like, all right, staffing's an issue. There was a mass exodus in the past couple of years.
They're going out faster than they're coming in.
Yeah,
right?
the COVID, politics, whatever. Everybody wants to get out. I don't blame some guys. Like, you got a wife and kids, and you get worried about longevity and the bigger picture. Sure, you do you. I'm not judge or jury on any of this shit. I don't care.
Got it.
My situation is my own. But the downside of that is staffing sucks. Mandating, overtime, short staff. Yeah, we get it. We can't hire guys fast enough. We can't find good applicants fast enough. So it's this constant revolving door of just, all right, get people in, people are leaving, people in, people leaving. So we just this year at my agency, I think we've put at least 75 to 80 new officers through the academy and in-house. And it's the mass exodus is also, which is funny, leaving New York, Chicago, Detroit. Got a couple of actually guys from California transferring to Florida.
Yeah, we're hearing, as you said, Daddy DeSantis saying there's signing bonuses for if you want to leave your apartment.
I got $1,300 from Daddy DeSantis this year.
Yeah, we'll take care of you.
Yeah,
which I mean that's to me it's a little weird that we're in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people don't want the job. I was doing a little research today too, just in terms of like paychecks, income levels, things like that, in terms of how people are paid here in Florida, like whether you're a teacher. You may like a school teacher versus a police officer, and if I went back and if you compared that to where I came from, I'm looking at it going, no way. I mean, the cost of living is so much different. I mean, half the cops that work in, this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I don't know. Like, I'd be interested to see what the stats are.
I'm sure nobody lives.
They don't fucking live there. Yeah, man, they're commuting in from hours away.
Yeah.
A lot of times, or a long way away because they cannot afford to live where they work, which is a fucking problem.
I don't blame them. And now, granted, South Florida is its own weird animal because cost of living is huge, like especially Southeast Florida. So where we are, the Dade, Broward, Palm Beach area, like the Everglades favors a little bit more east side. So once you get to the Everglades, you can only go north or south.
Right.
If you live over in Tampa, there's guys who have a 5-acre piece of property and they can work for Tampa PD. Mm-hmm. Like that sounds amazing to me. I wish I could have that. But because all we can go is up.
Yeah, you're landlocked. Yeah.
The prices of houses have been insane. Like we got this poor new guy. I think he came from Chicago. Awesome kid too. Like good cop. The guy you want to work with. Like quiet, one of those like quiet, under the radar guys, but knows how to do his job. Really good at his job. Like so happy when he came. Can't find a place to live.
Yeah, man.
And his wife's like, "Oh, we got to go back to Chicago."
It's not sustainable.
Yeah. So, but the only good thing is that we have the upper hand on is no state income tax is huge,
right?
Because my wife and I are looking at like properties to like buy where we could possibly retire, and we're like, oh, Montana, it's beautiful. Like we were just talking about. I went there for a couple weeks in October. Like they got state income tax. Like shit. Like, all right, now who's next on the list? So we're still shopping, but the taxes are what kill people. Anyway, New York is insane. I don't know how people survive.
I don't know how they live up there, man.
Like
I don't
understand it.
Again, it's a confluence of circumstances, right? That puts these departments in the situations that they're in. I'm always curious to think and sit back and think about how long does it take for us to come out the other side of this. Mm-hmm. And based on like the things you're saying, these are so many uncontrollable things. And there's it's like a generational type thing. Like we have to go through a long time before this comes out the other side. So that said, I mean, you're going to work every day and you're dealing with the things that you have to deal with. I mean, that's the job. To put it in almost your own words, you signed up for this to some extent, right? Yeah. But you're also finding ways outside of there to maybe earn a little money, but also keep yourself fresh, keep yourself interested, and keep pushing, bringing it all the way back to what you guys are doing here at Condition 1. So like most great coaches that I know, you're always trying to give back. You're always trying to serve and trying to help people at a different level. There's smart ways to do that too, where you can make an income doing it. But there's a balance and it takes away. Because if you're going to do that, that means there's less time to be spent at home or whatever. But you've been able to combine the work and the life and the things and the skill sets that you need to have there with work, right? And that's not easy to do. And you've been able to do it with a phenomenal group of people. Yeah. So impressed.
I've been very blessed.
I would have to agree. Yeah. I mean, from the outside looking in, so many cool things happening here. And so going back to the great coaches work with other great coaches and want to surround themselves with other great people so that they can constantly evolve. Mm-hmm. I wonder what the world of, kind of where you are, because all the things that you just said about being a law enforcement officer and, obviously things in the military now, if you're working on a special team and special teams or special operations are even different than they were just a few months ago since we've pulled out of certain places and the world is a wild place right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Things are wild at the moment. So they could be spun up at any given time. Mm-hmm. But I have to imagine this provides a really great opportunity for guys like you and the team like you have to interact with other people and other great teams out there. I wonder if you can speak to that a little bit about what the community, what that tight-knit community is or is like from speaking from your perspective. I mean, who do you guys go to bounce things off of? Or if you were going to go take a course or a class to find out what somebody else was doing, who would you go see? Who do you talk to?
So because the best part about being in a community like this, like whether it be like the guys who came from the special operations military side or the SWAT teams, like you don't get to be a part of those teams by being a dick. Like if you're a lazy sack of shit, like hopefully your team is being good gatekeepers and they're not letting those type of people.
The selection process will get you out of there. Yeah.
Like a personality issue will get you fucked over way quicker than being inefficient in CQB because they can teach you CQB, but if you're just a dick, like I don't fucking want to hang out with you. It's more people. It's good. It's all good dudes. That being said, it's easy to talk to these people because they're just people. Like
they're good dudes.
One of the first, it's funny as shit. Like a lot of people like put people up on a pedestal, and it was a great humanizing moment where first time I got the opportunity to like train with and learn from some of these tier 1 guys. They were doing some nods work. Dude walked right into a wall with his freaking panos. It was a glass,
like a $40,000.
Yeah, it was a glass like conference room wall in a big office building that we were training at. And I'm watching under another dude's panos and thinking these are the greatest things ever because this is like 10 years ago. Okay. I'm like, oh my God, these are fucking amazing. And I'm watching them work, and they're fucking cool as cucumbers. Oh, God, these guys are superhuman. The next thing you go, boom, fucking face plants into a glass wall.
They are human.
And he just goes, fuck. It keeps on going, and it continues his clearance. I'm like, all right, they're human.
So they're not all perfect. They're not robots.
That being said, everyone's a good dude. A majority. Yes, you're going to have a bad lemon every now and then that sneaks through the cracks and has a bad experience with a certain group, whatever. But that being said, it leads us to, we can still call our friends. Like I'm still active with my team, so that's easy. But like Dave and all those other guys, they can still call their guys that are still in and be like, hey, what do you think? Like we're developing like our development of our sling. We sent a couple dozen out to guys that are still going overseas and doing work. But hey, wear it on some operations, wear it in training, give us your feedback. And we made some adjustments based on their feedback. It's a good tight-knit community like that. Good gatekeepers are going to keep out the shit. So guys that we'll go to are one of the guys who are still active. Well, we can't name them. Local guys that we like to train with, like John Dufresne, I think I touched on him earlier. Mocha Bear, like one of my good friends, like love that guy. And he, Army Ranger, but still a student. Like he's big into PRS and precision stuff. Always pushing the envelope type of thing. There's a huge competition shooting community down here.
Like USPSA type stuff?
Yeah, a lot of guys have competitions down here. Florida, because of the weather, I think is like a great little bubble, if you want to call it that, or group of, the weather's always good, so we can always train, minus it being too hot. But I trained with Rakaza early this year. JJ was fantastic. Ben Stoger is going to be in, I think, South Central Florida in a couple months. I'm taking his class. Like, everybody wants to come to Florida, so the guys who can teach me, like the CQB stuff, I'm going to go to the source of the guys who developed it, which is through the guys that work here. The shooting stuff, I'm going to try and find the best competition shooters who their sole job is shooting, being fast and accurate, and then I will find a way to bridge the gap.
This huge crossover,
because there's always this dick measuring contest of like, like competition is not real. Like, I don't give a shit about making it real. Like, making me shoot fast. Help me find a way to see things fast and engage them quickly. And I will find a way to contextually apply it to a shoot house, which is seeing a threat and engaging it as quickly as possible using good tactics. So bridging those worlds, I think, is huge. So if people want to argue about that, I don't give a shit. Argue all you want on the internet. I'd rather slam my head in a car door, which is like a post I made a couple days ago.
No, I get the frustration, and that's kind of why it's not the reason I was asking, but I recognize there's so much. Again, with competition and with people, there's huge ego out there. And you just dropped a bunch of names, which is I think just validates and proves my point. Some might argue with this because somebody's always going to do that. But the names you just dropped are names that aren't going to surprise people. Those guys are also not assholes.
No.
They're not dicks.
No. Oh, Ben's a little rough on me. He just likes calling out bullshit, and I think it's entertaining.
But does that make you a dick, or does that just make you, brutally honest? If you think that's being an asshole, well, maybe you're a little
being
sensitive.
one of the best shooters on the planet gives you the right to talk a little bit of shit.
Yeah, look, so I would never argue with him.
Yeah,
right.
No,
so whatever he says, I'm probably going to listen to.
If I can outshoot him one day, then I'll talk shit. Other than that, I'll be his student.
Great point. And so those are all guys that you're going because they know they can outshoot you. Right?
Yeah. I want to learn from people better than me. And if you're the smartest guy in the room all the time, find a different room.
There's a problem.
Find a different room.
That's a big fucking problem. Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because I think there's a lot of people out there, particularly now, and it was because there's more competition. People are getting, I think, a little bit. Their britches are getting a little big, and there's things being said that just don't need to be fucking said.
Mm-hmm.
And who am I, right? I'm just a civilian from the outside, but I know when people are just talking to hear themselves talk versus trying to provide value, right? And trying to provide some type of message that makes sense to, whatever it is, whether it's their business or other things. And I think things are coming up, and I'm hearing people say shit that to me looks like you're literally trying to be divisive. And if that's not the case, if that's not what you're doing, and you're not knowingly doing that, then you're being fucking ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And which to me is worse than even being divisive. And the reason for that is that just means you're literally talking out of your ass. Yep. And that bothers me because now you've accomplished nothing. Yeah. You've accomplished nothing. I wonder if you could speak to that and some of the stuff you see in your hearing.
So one of the biggest things I fucking hate is the attention-seeking behavior. Like, I need to pound my chest and defend my resume and talk about, I did this. I'm a team leader from this unit and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. If you're doing attention-seeking behavior, like, social media is a great, great medium and platform to convey information. But if you're doing it to only pat yourself on the back or get a bunch of likes and just be like, I'm really cool, and validate how cool you are, cool. You know what? I'll find someone who's more badass than you. And
there's always going to be that.
2 seconds on Google.
There's always going to be that.
And if that's your whole goal, great. If you want to use your experience and your knowledge to educate others, fucking good on you. That's the whole reason I'm using social media that way. The company is doing it that way. Yes, it's a business and it's marketing, but none of us are doing this without the genuine motivation of helping others. Mm-hmm. And we say this at the end of every class, so you'll have to hear me say it again tomorrow and on Sunday. But the conversation always comes up: why do civilians need CQB?
Great question.
Why not? Mm-hmm. Yes. Will you ever have to clear a large structure, 9,000 square feet, with a team environment? No, I fucking hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either, man. Not, because that's not why I'm here.
Because you'll see real quick, like, there's no fucking way to make this shit 100% safe. Like, there's always exposure. We have a really good way of doing it, but leads me to my point of, we have a huge concealed carry permit holding community in Florida. I think one of the biggest in the country. We've got a bunch of people who own guns that maybe they decide to spend their own money to get some training, and they chose us to give their money to. Awesome. We take so much pride in that. You're going to give us a whole weekend, or at least a full day. You're going to pay us a couple $100, okay? We're going to give you the best fucking product of training we can. And what's the result of that is going to be of, I want to make you so much more capable to, one, defend your life and your loved ones in the best way possible. Because at the end of the day, CQB is going to be prying doors, using angles to protect yourself. Okay, yeah, you may not do like an angle man corner boy or a cross pan with a teammate, but if you hear a glass break in the night and your alarm goes off, and are you going to be able to go find your kids and get to safety?
You got doors in hallways?
Yeah,
right?
Same. Okay, we're trying to make the individual shooter more capable to defend their life. Because nothing is worse than seeing a video of some jackass with a gun make the entire Second Amendment community look like assholes,
like idiots, yeah,
because they did some dumb cowboy shit versus the guy who showed up, or maybe that guy who's a concealed carry holder that we never hear about in the media because it's not sexy. But the guy walks into Walmart and starts shooting at people, and he's dead before his fucking first round hits the ground.
The Dickens drill.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So a concealed carry permit holder saves the day. He's a hot topic on social media for a little bit. We all forgot about him real quick.
For a minute.
For a second, yeah.
For a minute, yeah.
So I would take every opportunity, every single student, if I can make you more capable to, one, be the poster child for the Second Amendment, because God forbid you have to defend your life or your families. I will do everything I can to make you more capable. And if you're not trying to be more capable, whatever, it's on you. But it's something we take a lot of pride in. Again, I'm not trying to set you up for doing a 16-man assault on a compound in the Middle East. I'm trying to make you see angles, see better, open your eyes so you can address threats and be a problem solver with a gun. That's all it is. So people are like churching this shit up, like, how dare you teach civilians this stuff? I'm like, calm the fuck down.
That's exactly what I would say, man.
Like,
but what's your problem? Like, what is the problem?
It's home defense. Calm down. I'm not teaching them fast roping. Like, yeah, we teach some open enrollment night vision stuff, but it's the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Like, we don't get into the real complex stuff. That stuff we only get to with the LE side because they're doing it for real. Mm-hmm. Like, if guys want to learn that stuff, okay, fill out a job application. But like, we don't get into the weeds on the civilian side. We give people a good amount, as much as we can, to make them very good and proficient so they can continue to educate themselves on their own. And maybe if they want to keep coming back, great. But at the end of the day, like, this whole competition of who's cooler and arguing on the line about whether who should be teaching this, who should be doing that, like, it's an open market, dude. Teach whatever the fuck you want. And then there's other instructors who are shitting on each other. Like, if you see somebody that's doing something you don't like, teach a better class. Convince me to give you my money instead of that guy.
Be remarkable.
Yeah. Like it's a free market. Like, it's not a communist market. I can spend my money however the fuck you want. Convince me otherwise. So it's a weird. People just love talking shit, and some of it's warranted. Trust me, because there's a lot of bad apples in the industry. I would love to call a bunch of people out, but I try to keep myself professional with this shit. But
it's a waste of time at the end of the day. Like,
what
have you done?
It doesn't change anything. Yeah. No, it doesn't change. It just makes me look like an asshole who's whining on the internet like a little girl.
Yeah, and again, you haven't accomplished anything by doing that, whether people get where you're coming from or not. There's something you said, a couple of things you said, and then there's one thing you didn't, which I think is a really important thing, and it's okay for this to be that way. And the first thing is like you mentioned, angles, barricades, seeing things, brain mapping, figuring out how to problem solve, the chess match or whatever happens. It doesn't just happen in your home. It can happen outside. I mean, the gas station, around your car, whatever. You don't necessarily have to do vehicle, threat mitigation classes to understand angles, right? Like, how do you move? How do you shoot? How do you pick things up? How do you get from point A to point B? All that stuff is totally applicable. It's just in a little bit different environment.
Even in our solo CQB class, I teach you how to use a flashlight as a deconfliction tool. Like, if you're giving me a hard time at a gas station because maybe I have a nice truck, I'll blind you with 1,200 lumens. Right. And while you're doing this, I've moved, or I've drawn a gun, or I've gotten in my car and sped off by the time you realize what's even happened. Like, it's not all about just like flexing and being the biggest dick in the room.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger piece, is like people are trying to separate it all out into its constituent pieces, right? Oh, it's CQB. It's skills building, right? Or it's USPSA, it's comp shooting. It's skills building, right? You're constantly building one on top of the other, and you're just doing it in a little different environment so you can put them over the top. The thing I was going to say, which I think is totally okay to say, and I'll say it, and that is because it can be fucking fun.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with having a good time? Especially, whether you're on your own or you're going down, to meet some new people and work in this
community building. Like, more people have probably become best friends in our classes that never met each other prior to that class, but now they're going to the range together. Yeah, they're taking other classes together. I've met people at classes because I'm very much still a student. Like, I take at least 4 or 5 classes a year. I meet people in these classes that I'm still friends with from over a decade ago. And these are now probably friends I'll have for life. Yeah. It's just a good time. And they're civilians. Like, I don't have to be a cop or a SWAT guy to, like, enjoy a fucking shooting class.
No, not at all. I get this. Like, it's funny to me. And I surround myself with people that are I very diverse group of friends and people. Some of the people that I love in my life think this is weird. You know what I think is fucking weird? I think it's weird that you'll go out on a fucking Saturday night and spend $1,000 at a nightclub on to get bottle service or whatever else.
That's why I hate SHOT Show.
Who gives a fuck if I want to spend a few $100 doing this? Like, it's weird. That's weird. Yeah. Why do you have to, why, really? I mean, how many rifles do you have? I don't know. How many fucking Louis Vuitton purses do you have?
Mind your fucking business.
Mind your own fucking business. I think if people did a little bit more of that and spent a little bit more time time thinking about the bigger picture, the more fun they would have and the more open experiences they would have.
Yeah, everyone's got their tight little comfort zone. And sometimes that comfort zone is going to the fucking nightclub. Or it's being debriefed by a retired Navy SEAL and telling you, like, oh, the shit you're doing on the range sucks. You ain't as cool as you think you are. You're not John Wick.
Just being open to criticism and whatever.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that you guys are doing, though, and bringing all these different pieces together in this particular type of environment and keeping an open mind and talking with other guys, you mentioned like development, right? And this constant innovation. And we've seen a shit ton of it. And probably in the last 20 years, obviously, the war on terror, law enforcement, things have evolved very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But it's brought on, all kinds of new products and things like that. And I am look, I like to know what's going on with the gear and, what's happening out there. But I have always been and always will be a do more with less type of person. I just like, I wear the same. I have 2 fucking pairs of jeans. I have 2 pairs of shoes. I like to keep my ecosystem the same when it comes to my firearms, whether it's my pistols or my rifles or whatever else. Like I like to keep it really simple. Some people like to go way the fuck out there, right, and do all kinds of stuff. But I know for you guys, there's been some development, obviously, outside of the training, just kind of within the products, because there's opportunity to do that. But there's also you giving back to the community, like, hey, we think this would be better in this particular situation. So you guys have been doing some stuff. I mean, maybe we talk about a couple of things you guys are doing. I mean, there's the rifles, there's the slings. Start and finish wherever you want there.
So because of our variety of backgrounds and resumes, all of us have basically been at a point where, like, God, I wish I had this piece of gear. It would make my life a little bit more easy. And if you're not trying to, like, be a minimalist with this stuff, because nobody wants to be a pack mule.
Right.
Like, granted, I'm going from, like, an armored vehicle to a front door most of the time. Like, the longest I ever had to run on, like, a call out was, like, I responded to Stoneman Douglas, and it was, like, a half mile from where, because every fucking car was blocking the road, so I had to run from a half mile probably there. But that being said, Dave actually has a pretty good head on his shoulders for sewing, because he had to invent his own shit sometimes overseas, or the piece of gear that he needed wasn't available. Okay. So a lot of guys actually got really good at stitching and sewing. I think that's how Kyle Lamb actually came out with the Viking Tactics sling years ago, is he made it himself out of some extra nylon, and next thing you know, it's one of the best slings to ever be made. And
talked to a bunch of guys like that, man. Yeah.
And I've trained with Kyle a couple times. He's fantastic. But we found some gaps and some things that we wanted collectively. And this is stuff that the genesis of it was, like, having a couple drinks in this exact room. Like, hey, how can we make this better? Who makes it? Nobody? All right, I guess we have to. So, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, but COVID and all these manufacturers, nobody wants to work, and finding people just
bottlenecked everything,
provide products. So we decided to start in-housing all of it. So, and the first one was the sling, and it's been about 2 years in the making. The Minimo, it's, I think, releasing officially December. I'll call it early December. I don't know if it's December 1st or not. It's a minimalist sling. If you've ever had heavy padded slings, they're fucking frustrating. It's a snag hazard. It's been beta tested by guys, and again, former units of guys that have worked here. We've been running them ourselves. Like, my work rifle has had one on it for 2 years, and it has held up fantastically, and I wouldn't change a thing about it.
So I guess going back to, like, the padded versus the minimal thing, like, so I'm looking at the sling here, if you've got on this rifle, and it looks like it's maybe 3/4 of an inch.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, versus the padded one, which, again, use case, if I had to, I guess, I have no earthly fucking idea, but if I'm marching around the mountains of Afghanistan and I've got 40, 50 pounds of shit hanging off me, and I have my rifle, and I'm going to be out there on patrol for 8, 10, maybe more hours. Maybe a thicker padded sling makes sense because of my use case.
I would say
maybe it doesn't.
The feedback we've gotten is, or from everyone's experience, the thicker padded slings are great for heavy machine guns. But a 8 to 10 pound rifle, you can get away with a lot less.
Again, less being more.
Yeah, and it's all on how you set it up. One thing that we get a lot of is guys, not to go change topics, but we always try to say sometimes it's a hardware issue, or it's a software issue, not a hardware issue.
Training, you mean?
Yeah. So, I hate this piece of gear. Like, okay, well, or I hate this rifle. Like, what's wrong with it? it's not shooting accurate, like, or is it not shooting accurate? You're not shooting it accurately. So sometimes more training is the issue. If it's a piece of gear, then yes, we will try to develop that to fill the gap. But majority of the time, it's actually just your manipulation of the tool is not efficient enough. So that's why, again, we came up with this. It does have QD options if you want to take the paracord off. We've found that the QD swivels break. For LE, again, we're not hiking in the mountains of Afghanistan, where it's not taking the same abuses. Depending on how much of how aggressive you are with your gear, I should say, on the LE side, I haven't seen any of them break. It happens occasionally, but it's not often enough that I would can get in QD swivels.
I've never had one break, but I can tell you what I have had. I ran a rifle suppressed one time, and I had basically the gas from the gun was actually kicking out the rear swivel out of the back, which is weird. I thought first time it happened to me, I was training in a jacket with a fairly stiff sleeve. It was a Gore-Tex, like an Arc'teryx jacket. And I was like, is my jacket somehow putting is it somehow putting pressure on that button? Is it pulling it out? And then it finally dawned on me, the gas system was kicking it out. It was odd. Never had that happen before.
Yeah. Some rifles that are overgassed, not to name names, but you'll get out of the trigger. You'll see the top of your finger. It's all black now and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
That's why, well, we partnered with Cobalt Kinetics. Aaron makes a fantastic freaking gun, and he's just the sweetest human being ever. Also a very good connoisseur of bourbon. So
sweet. Well, those are all good things. I mean,
if you're going to SHOT Show, we'll have a drink
3 for
together.
3. We'll be there.
But the way they did their gas system with the Voltor, the A5 is fantastic with these things. One, it just makes the buttstock even longer for my big ass, so it makes me more comfortable for me to shoot. But biggest thing, I'll pimp them right now, is Huxworks. These flow cans are the greatest thing I've ever shot. There's no gas. I just went to a class this past weekend, shot about 700-800 rounds over the weekend, maybe. My eyes didn't burn, no gas in my face, and it was fantastic.
I was out on the range last weekend with the guy from Arizona that had one of those on, and it was fucking quiet, which stunned me due to the size of the can. I mean, first off, the diameter is no bigger than the handrail or the rail on that rifle, and it's short. I mean, that thing's like maybe 6.5, 7 inches long. It's very small and light.
Yeah,
very light.
Yeah, it's all 3D printed. We recently went and visited their facility when we were out in Utah. We taught a class out in Salt Lake. Yeah. Awesome guys. Can't speak highly enough of them as far as just being good dudes. But they make a hell of a product. And they've got cooler products coming out that I can't talk about. But they're pushing the envelope on the science behind this stuff. Their engineers are really going crazy with making things lightweight and like no gas. The biggest thing is no gas. Like not having my eyes burn if I have to do like a bill drill, like pop, like throw 6 rounds really quick.
If you're not
like
burning,
like a certain can would make my eyes burn. These things, I don't taste any gas. It's fantastic.
So on that note, I mean, this is a signature. This is the Condition 1 signature Cobalt rifle, right?
Yep.
I mean,
this is Dave's rifle. This is his personal setup. Mine would be a little different. He likes his bad lever and stuff like that. It's in what we're calling Condition 1 gray. So if you're familiar with mass gray, it's a little bit similar. It's funny because when we first got pictures from Aaron of the Cerakote guys doing this, I thought it was 3 different rifles in one picture, but they actually just spliced them together, and it was just 3 different lighting conditions, and it's like a chameleon. It changes colors.
That's interesting.
Which makes it really cool. But it's super lightweight. It's going to come on the basic Cobalt Pro setup. The special things for us is going to be the trigger system. We're going to be offering the Trigger Tech trigger in the curved or flat face. It's going to come with our sling as well. And we also partnered with Proof Barrels, huge in the precision world. And I think we had like one of the first prototypes of their 11.5. Oh, sorry, it's an 11.5-inch setup. But you can have the carbon fiber wrap barrel or just a stainless steel barrel.
Got it.
And we felt as a company, the less stress we can put on the consumer, the better. So you're getting that barrel upgrade at our cost. We don't make $1 whichever barrel you
Sweet.
want. But it saves a little bit of weight. So I'm a snob, although I am big and I like to work out. Like we went hiking in Montana, and I don't like carrying heavy shit longer than I have to.
Being comfortable is important, man.
Yeah, and ounces add up. Anybody that's like gone on a long walk or had to talk or carry a lot of shit for a long distance knows that shit sucks. So if we can save an ounce or two, we're going to. Everything else is just Dave's add-on stuff. The rail pieces don't come. Cloud Defense obviously makes a great light. This Wilcox laser is fantastic, but overall, that's just the basic package.
Are there optics options for this rifle? Like, can you order them with optics and save some money?
We definitely can, and through Cobalt as well. They do a custom build package.
Cool.
We're dealers for stuff like that, so if you're ordering one of these, you can just email us. Like,
gotcha.
Sales at Condition One, because we're Aim Point dealers, EOTech dealers. We sell all that stuff. We're actually opening up a gun shop down here. It's going to be like a small boutique type thing. It's not going to be like, hey, I want to buy this like Ruger LCP. It's like, hey, I want to build this with lasers and slings. Like you want a rifle? Okay, we'll build you this. So it's going to be like smaller, but it's going to be a little higher end.
I think that's so smart. I mean, especially with all the manufacturers out there that make so many different things. I mean, you're starting to see that happen. And what I've started to see some people do is lean towards this is the specific build that you get, but it doesn't leave a lot of customization options in there, which a lot of people want. Yeah. Like they want, like, I love the way that looks, or I like this piece, but I don't like that. And they don't have the option of switching it out. It's like, this is what you get.
Yeah.
I feel like the industry's right now there's going to be way more of that available to people, particularly as people become more educated about all the stuff that's out there. And you have more small, I'll call it small businesses like Cobalt coming around, which guys like you are going to want to get into people's hands versus going with the old, whether it's Daniel Defense or whatever else, where it's just, hey, this is it out of the box, slap an optic and a handbrake on it, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and it's all like, this is a higher end rifle. I'll challenge Cobalt to accuracy and soft shooting standards across the board against anybody. But if I get a customer, like, we're not like dicks about this stuff. Like, yeah, we like Cobalt. We'd like you to buy a Cobalt. But if your budget says I can only afford an Aero Precision and I can spend a couple $100 on a training class,
good enough.
Please do that. Like, I'd rather you be more capable with whatever weapon system you can get. Like, yeah, this thing can hit out to probably 600 to 800 yards without trying. At least that's what we've tested it at with a 1 to 10 optic on it. We're happy with that. Are you ever going to have to take that shot? Probably fucking not. But I like the capability of it.
Sure.
But again, this makes us happy. This is what we would like to build. But again, we're always going to push the consumer to do what works for you. If your budget is, again, Aero Precision or Daniel Defense, like, have at it. Spend that extra money. Yeah.
Start it there.
Yeah, please. If we can help you in any way, like we say at the end of every class, like, use this as a resource. Like, just because you took one class here doesn't mean you can't slide in our DMs and be like, hey, what do you think of this buttstock? Because at some point, we've all probably tried the piece of gear you're considering and either shit-canned it or loved it. So, like, there's a whole bunch of trial and error that's gone into this. This is Dave's. Mine comes in next week, and the only differences that'll probably be is I like aim point optics. I like probably the basic old-school Magpul buttstock, and I run a flat-face trigger because my long-ass fingers, I don't want to be pulling behind myself, so I like the triggers being flat. Other than that, I think his is ambi, too. I hate ambi safeties.
Interesting.
Yeah, they get in my way because of my big hands.
Yeah, I get that.
And I've just, the way I've always done it type of thing, I'm comfortable with it, but
personal preference, right? Yeah. So people have options. I think that's super important. And I think as people become more familiar with the products themselves, and I just mean across the board, like, here's all the things that are available to me now. It's, I mean, if you go back 5 years, it's exponentially just gotten more and more and more. You've got to give people options.
That is one thing that, again, lessons learned in blood. Usually the War on Terror did great things when it comes to evolution.
Yeah, innovative product, yeah.
Again, it sucks. It's war. Like, yes, people died. It sucks. A lot of people lost loved ones. A lot of people lost good friends. But it's not in vain. The evolution of just, not want to call it products, but technology like there's so many more capable systems and platforms. Like we're talking everything from probably like GPS and laser guided bombs to like buttstocks and optics and IR lasers and stuff like that. Like the demand has been so high for 20 years. Like you had to feed that monster, and from it was the genesis of
what we see now.
The upgrades of even charging handles. Like guys aren't running the same charging handles they were 20 years ago, and they found ways to suppressors are now more common than ever, thank God. Shooting on suppress is just uncivilized. But
if you spend enough time on the range, anybody that wants to say any different, they just haven't spent enough time out there standing next to a guy for 8 fucking hours.
Everybody jokes that there are some influencer type people that are like, oh, I want to shoot unsuppressed, so they see like the fire breathing dragon or some shit. I'm like,
whatever.
Dude.
You haven't shot enough.
You do you.
You do
you. I would rather save my own hearing. I'm already pretty deaf and have enough concussions to go with it. Like I don't need any more of that shit.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, this is at least Dave's setup, and this is available on our website. And it can be again customized however you want. Just let us know.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you guys were sort of behind the scenes talking about some other cool stuff that you're working on, and you mentioned how you're doing that. It really is starting here, like from everything from the design to the manufacturing to the QC is all coming out of you guys, right? Yep. So whatever you're getting in your hand has not been farmed out to to somebody somewhere. It's it's right here, right? It's right here. So if you have questions about it, you already put it out there, which I think is important. Like, hey, email us. Like, reach out to us however we can help you.
Please, yeah. Like our Instagram is at Condition One Group. My personal Instagram is Tactical Human Performance. But most of the stuff I'm focusing on is the training side, not so much the product development. That's more Dave. Like I'm definitely contributing because there's 2 products that I'm personally trying to spearhead, which is a gas mask / med pouch, and then like a pry bar entry tool.
With a pouch.
Pouch.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to basically, again, making people more capable. Like sometimes being capable means you can actually run up 2 flights of stairs and not be fucking
louder for the people in the back.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve is just seeing dudes with like 3 necks trying to. I have no problem fat shaming people. I'll just say that. That's one thing I am a dick about is 1, if you're unsafe, and 2, if you're just a big lazy slob.
Well, look, man, if you show up to one of these trainings and you haven't taken care of your own house first, then we don't come out here and do this, because ultimately as you become more physically fatigued, you'll become more mentally fatigued.
Oh yeah,
and then that creates a problem.
Yeah,
that is problematic.
Yeah.
If I'm here and we're going to be using. I'm sure most of the day will be dry tomorrow, I would assume, and then maybe we move into UTMs at some point over the weekend.
The first half of the day will be dry just to get some basic movements, and then we'll start letting you shoot targets. And it's the biggest thing I tell people, and you have to hear this a couple times, sorry, but it's drills. I'm just trying to get you to see.
Right.
Because people are like, well, they're like giving verbal commands and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, it's a drill. I'm just trying to get you to see sooner. Like, if you're going so fast that I see your gun do this, like, okay, that means your eyes are kind of behind the clearance, as I say it. And that means that you're not doing the clearance properly, because there shouldn't be any, like, snapping features like that. And little things like that we have to
address.
Iron out and address to make sure you guys are actually doing the tactics right. And then we'll let you do a little bit of pew-pew just to make sure you're seeing what we're putting out there.
Yeah, it changes things. Everything matters in terms of what you're taking in from the inputs. And I respect that. But that said, the less physically fit, the less mentally fit you are coming into these situations while they may be UTMs. I don't get fucking shot. I've been shot with those things before. They hurt.
They hurt.
They fucking hurt.
Yeah. And you'll see on day 2, and again, you'll have to hear it again, but the things that are very valuable with the terms of CQB is time and calories. So time is your friend. You can, if it's the slow type of clearance, like non-hostage rescue type stuff, get all the time in the world. Take your fucking time. But calories, if you're not being efficient, 1 or 2 rooms ain't a big deal. Okay, go clear an entire floor of a hotel. Go clear an entire school. Like, I looked like I got out of a goddamn swimming pool after clearing a high school. I'm like, okay. Like, and that's a different animal. It's South Florida, and it's a fucking huge compound or a huge school.
But the case in point there is like you have to be physically ready for that.
Yeah, there's guys who are 2 rooms deep and they're like because
Your liability.
they're forgetting to breathe. They're maybe not in great shape to begin with.
Yeah.
The stress is making their heart rate go through the roof. Level 3 is our force on force class. Love that shit. You see really who's in shape in there, because someone shooting back at you, it's a different animal.
Heart rate up, respiratory rate up.
Yeah, like, problem solving skills. You go a little bit crazy.
That's an appropriate response to that type of a thing. However,
absolutely,
does it stay at a level that's manageable?
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. And again, the only way to train that is to train it.
Yeah.
So, but
it's as real as you can make it.
But if you're coming in already a fat piece of shit,
yeah,
right, and just completely out of shape,
yeah,
well, then you're already way behind the power curve.
Oh yeah,
things haven't even started yet. You're way behind.
And
the power
you're just
curve.
an easier target for me to shoot, because you're going to be less agile, less mobile, and you're big and fat. So you're probably going to have a little bit extra hanging out that I can snap.
Copy. Yep. Yeah, got you. So you laid down the Instagram handle for both you and for Condition 1. And I mean, I'm really anxious to get into the training that we're going to be doing. I mean, I'm so stoked. Like I said, it got skunked for me a couple of weeks back, and I was super bummed. But it actually did give me a little time to get some trigger time before I came down here to knock some of the rust off. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Beauty of us having our own facility is we'll do a level 1 and 2 class probably at least every other month. So it rolled right around. No, just come to the next one.
Yeah, maybe actually as we're sort of closing up here, you mentioned the 2023 schedule, which is busy. I just had to look at it over the last couple of days because I think it was you that posted it. You guys are fucking busy.
Yeah.
And it's not just here. You guys are everywhere, it seems like. And at least like southeastern seaboard kind of area. Can you talk about that? Just kind of give people some perspective of where they might find you.
Again, a lot of guys retiring from military and the war on terror, they got some experiences, and the demand for CQB has increased the number of facilities. Like, we're 9,000 square foot right now, indoor, air conditioned. I don't think there's another one of these on the eastern coast of the United States that's open to the public. Again, there's like Blackwater facilities and shit like that. Yeah. But you're not getting into those.
No, it's 85 degrees outside and humid as fuck.
Yeah.
When I stepped off the plane last night, I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
You know, coming from where I came from, this is pleasant, man.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm actually cold right now. Yeah. And it's fucking amazing. But that being said, the number of facilities has risen. So what we have on the schedule that I can think off the top of my head, we go to Blue Force Skier. They're in just outside of Savannah.
Okay.
They've got a nice little facility inside their actual like warehouse. So like you can go shopping in their pro shop, and they give you a nice discount too if you're in the class. MTAC in Indiana is another cool facility, also indoors because it snows there. So it's really fucking nice not to be exposed to the elements. The place we were just at in Texas, the ranch, which every fucking place in Texas calls itself the ranch. It's weird. But it's an old, I forget which, it wasn't Blackwater, but it was an old contracting facility. They got a drive track and a bunch of ranges, and they've got a 14,000 square foot live fire shoot house. And it is fucking nice.
14,000 square foot live fire.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Now, we don't teach live fire because I don't want that fucking liability. Nobody does. But that being said, it's huge, and it's a great little facility. It's like 45 minutes south of San Antonio.
Okay.
The farm out in Utah, which is just outside of Salt Lake. We'll be there a couple times. I know there's more.
Well, you just covered...
We're doing one the weekend of SHOT Show. Well...
In Vegas?
Yeah, in Vegas.
There's a pro gun out there, is that right?
I have no idea. Dave found that facility, I think. I'm actually busy because I'm still a student. My partner in my unit, Jack and I, Matt Pranka and Stoger are hosting like an LE-only 3-day class in Phoenix, or just outside of Phoenix, the weekend before SHOT Show. So I'm jumping on that.
Then I'm jumping on the plane
to SHOT Show right after, because why not get some shooting done right before?
I love it. I mean, you just knocked out a massive regional spread for anybody that may want to
and even New York. Surprisingly, New York. They got a new shoot house and just outside of the New York City, I think in Staten Island or something.
It's no excuses, man. If you want some Condition 1, there's plenty of places and plenty of opportunities
We're trying. And we are going to start offering more range stuff because we're seeing some weird stuff. And
How do you mean?
Not so much everybody can teach you to be slow and accurate, so it's not going to be real like intro stuff. It's going to be more of the advanced manipulation. Like, how can we contextually apply what we see in the shoot house, the deficiencies we see in the shoot house, we want to bring to the range, because they overlap. And you'll hear again the spiel, but it's like that's like the practice facility. This is like the show. This is the shoot house is like the Super Bowl that you've been training for. But would you ever go? Would Bill Belichick let you put you in the game if you haven't been killing it in practice beforehand?
Right.
And some people do. So we want to possibly offer some range classes because ranges are a dime a dozen. So maybe like a combo, like, hey, Friday we're on the range and Saturday, Sunday we're in the shoot house type of thing. We're still bouncing ideas of that around, but that's a 3-day class is bigger money. So I don't know if we want to charge crazy money for something like that, if there's even a market for it.
It's a lot. I mean, it sounds to me that makes a lot of practical sense. Like go out, make sure you're for a couple of things. One, as an instructor, you're vetting who's in your class, right? So you know what you're getting. You can adjust accordingly to the group, right? Making sure the people in the group are getting what they need based on their own skill level. Maybe separate people out, pair people up accordingly. But then, obviously, being able to go what you can do on a flat range, which could be great, but it could also be limiting because it's much different than walking into the shoot house. So doing it back-to-back days, being able to put people in that situation versus like, hey, I took this class from you 3 months ago, and I can finally come back and do the CQB. That's an entirely different situation. So that'd be interesting to see how that evolves. I don't know how many people can really, or how many other places really have that ability to do that. So
that's true.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll make it work either way. And that's why it's fun because about a year ago we expanded the cadre. So that also gives us the ability to send 2 guys here and send 2 guys there simultaneously. So we can broaden the reach a little bit. So we can, like, this weekend, if we wanted to, we could have 2 guys here coaching and teaching here, and we host a class somewhere else same time.
Right.
It gives us a little bit more freedom. It also gives us a break because, like Dave touched on earlier when we were talking, like a lot of everybody in the cadre besides Dave is still active. So we're not like able to turn off our full-time jobs. This is all a side fun gig for us. That we treat it like a full-time job. It gets our full commitment.
You guys are growing it too.
Yeah, so we're trying to. Like I said, no training company that's like got a cadre is ever going to be like a Fortune 500. Like, we're not in this to become billionaires. Like, it's not physically possible but for a training company to make that much money. Like, yeah, we want to make a little bit extra money for our families and stuff like that.
You're trading time for dollars, man.
Yeah. Like there's a give and take. Like, we're even starting a nonprofit so we can give free law enforcement training to agencies and SWAT teams. The Plate to Plate Project is what it's called. So we're just waiting on, I think, approval for that. But it's even if it's donating like money to, like, hey, our team needs night vision. Okay, we'll write you a check, or we'll buy the knots for you and drop them off or some shit.
It's fucking outstanding.
Yeah, so any way we can help, because like we talked about, law enforcement is never going to get enough training. They're not always going to have the best equipment, so they always got to make it work. So we're trying to bridge gaps, whether it's provide the training ourselves or just get you the tools so you can do it on your own somehow.
At the same time, allowing civilians to come in and get a taste and practice and, like you said, bridge the gap in the community. Yeah. Dude, I cannot wait to get back in here tomorrow morning and get things going. I'm stoked. I really appreciate the time.
No, thank you.
That you've given me up until this point. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the next couple of really good days. So we're going to create some really cool content around a little bit of this. Yeah, get it out there so people can kind of see you and Dave in action, and just with the teaching, and also kind of what it looks or feels like to be a student here with you guys. And hopefully that's helpful for you. But man, like I said, thanks for your time.
No, thank you. I really appreciate you guys. 1, coming out here, and 2, just having me on. It's been great to actually have some good conversation with you guys.
Right on, dude. See you soon.
Yes, sir.